feel like we canceled God. Like it was just like, you know what? We're going to cancel God. I'm going to be my own God, and I'm going to do what I want to do with my own life and say what I want to say. And if you don't agree with me, then something is wrong with you. And it's unfortunate that we're now in a society where people can't have differing opinions and still respect each other. I don't have to agree with what you say. That doesn't mean now that I got to cancel you. It doesn't work that way.
Yes.
We kind of like got some weird lighting, but we've got the bars, so that's what's most important. How's everybody doing? Oh, Kelly is on time. I love it. How you doing? We've got a really exciting show today. Can't wait for everybody to join us on this fantastic show we've got going today.
Hi.
That orange, darling. I'm loving everything about that orange. Where's your hubby? Is he coming on?
Hold on one second. I'm like, I can barely hear.
Oh, okay. Well, in the meantime, we'll just keep talking because we've got these exciting guests coming on. Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
Where he is.
Okay, well.
And I'm like, he said he was going to be here, so
I'll get on him.
Thank you. Thank you.
Traffic too, so
yeah, this is true.
We are so incredibly excited today.
Yes.
We have one part of the dynamic duo. We call them a pure, true power couple. The first Black couple nominated for Emmys for 2 different projects in the same year.
Yes.
Both writers, producers, and actors.
Yes.
You guys are a duo to be reckoned with, and it has just begun. I know just more great things are going to be happening. And actually, you're up for nomination consideration right now, right?
I'm not, but whatever it is that dropped in your spirit, I'm receiving all of that.
That's the Holy Ghost. That's the Holy Ghost. You just keep that like it is. Golly, Kelly, it's just so good to see you. Let's hope your husband comes up. I'm going to ask you a few little trivial questions. Well, first of all, I think we should start here.
Yeah.
What made you start acting, girl?
I just heard him pull up, so he's coming in. I did, well, according to my mom, it was when I came out the womb. But I think in real life, I did my very first play in the 5th grade, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and I got to play Charlie, the lead, and just fell in love with it, and ever since then. And then I saw the 5 Heartbeats. My daddy went to take me to see the 5 Heartbeats, and it was a wrap. I was like, that's it. That's what I want to do.
So then did you go to school for it as well, or you just...
I did. So initially, there he is. Hello.
Hello.
Brother, you were getting ready to be in a lot of trouble with your men. That's
man.
Claude and Melvin are in a men's Bible group together. So he was gonna be in trouble if he show up. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Because I think I hear him hollering in the background, and I'm gonna see Melvin if you can sneak in and tell me what y'all talking about sometime.
No. Nope.
He's not gonna do it.
Nope.
Don't tell me either. It's like some secret society or something.
Right. It's like whatever happens in men's group stays.
What you trying to do? Just trying to stay married. That's all. You know, we're trying to help each other, build each other up, sharpen each other.
Support each other. That's what it's all about.
Well, I think that's so good that you guys are in a men's group together, praising the Lord and things out. You just can't even be mad about that. What's like your phone is. But wanted to ask you, just ask Kelly how she got into acting. And so, Kelly, you were talking about that and telling us a little bit.
Yeah, and then I when I graduated from high school, for whatever reason, I felt like acting wasn't a real job. So I was like, well, that's something I'll do on the side. So I went to Xavier University in New Orleans, because I was going to be a forensic psychologist. And when I got into my sophomore year and saw all the science classes, I was like, yeah, I think I'd much rather play one on TV. So I transferred back home and got my degree in theater from Georgia State.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mhm.
And Melvin, what about you? What got you?
How did I get into acting? I always say I slipped and fell in it. I was modeling at the time, and this agency I was with had me audition for a PSA. Never acted before, and I ended up booking the job. And from there, I was like, this is something I would love to do, and just really started taking it serious, and kind of the rest was history.
Wow, there are people that work so hard at getting into the business, and you just...
Well, the two. So they're writing, producing, acting. I mean, that's
It's
it
incredible.
was all in there, wasn't it, Melvin?
Say again?
I said it was all in there, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's all in there.
So, so talented. I was a theater arts major at UCLA. And back in the day when I was doing it, to think about being a producer in the 70s, or and to do real roles, be a leading lady or a leading man, or have the kind of roles you guys are doing, was unheard of. What do you think about how the role of Black people, how it's progressing? What do you think about that in terms of producing, writing, acting?
You know, I think we've come a long way. I think we have a long way to go.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got you, yes.
Yeah. So there's my 2 cents.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I think people have an idea of certain things or what they think we are as Black people, and that's what they write. And sometimes it's like that's not all Black people, and it's kind of one of those things where it makes you want to go and tell a different story. You see
Right.
one side, but what about the other side? And
Right.
Oh,
you always see the angry Black woman, the angry Black man. But what about the sophisticated, well-tempered person? Black
Right.
male, Black female. And so I think those are the stories that we need to tell and understand. How do we get to this point? It didn't just start from day one. It started from years and years ago, and how we get to a new beginning, to where we're not just getting new stories made or getting opportunities because someone like George Floyd was murdered. It's kind of like, shouldn't we get it just because we should get it?
Exactly. Well, I want to remind everybody that you can watch us on YouTube later too. And I was going to say this one thing. When I went to school, Mady Norman was my professor, and she was called the Pretty Maid. She was in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. She was with Lana Turner and all that. And those were the only roles a Black woman really could take heat off of, was maid. Because even if you were the trashy woman or the prostitute, that didn't pay back then. But as you know, our first Oscar was won by Hattie Mae McDaniels for Gone with the Wind. So I guess there has been some progress made, so that's good.
Well, the stories need to be told. So,
Yeah.
And we now we're getting opportunities. Some of them are independent, some of them are by major companies. But the good thing is the assets and availability are there to do films that you think could be made. You can do them.
Yeah.
Because you've done a couple of documentaries that I thought was very pointed. You might want to speak to Melvin has.
Yeah.
Yeah, the documentary that
violence.
Yeah, I think it was important to tell that story. I mean, I think it's always interesting when normally you will still hear a female telling stories about domestic violence, because I don't know what for. It means that's not something that they're passionate about or they don't want to tackle. And so for me, God put that on my heart to kind of help spearhead that and help women and men tell their story. Because I think it started out just being about women, but I'm like, what if men tell their stories too? That that I was even trying to get former abusers to share their stories, because I think we need to hear both sides and understand, how did you get to that point of being an abuser? Like, what have you learned? Where have you come? And my question to the survivors were, have you forgiven your abuser? And have you healed? And just to hear some of those stories where it's like, yeah, I have forgiven them. One person was like, I wasn't able to forgive them because they passed away. I'm still healing. I'm healing in this moment of sharing my story. So I think that was a beautiful thing to be a part of, and just to kind of just, like I said, bring it to life. And some people were, so I had one person like kind of telling me, oh, you shouldn't do a domestic violence documentary, do this or do that. And I'm like, what? Why should I not? And so I think that was even more the reason for me to do it, because I'm having a male tell me not to do it.
Right, right.
That's interesting. And I think the biggest part, and we're all Christians here, but I gotta say, even though I haven't been abused myself, I've had family members that have gone through that, and I knew about it as a child, and I'm still having a difficult time forgiving them for what they did. It's something I have to constantly, it's a work in progress, because that stuff messes up generation after generation, but it is an important issue. It's an issue we don't always want to talk about. So
it's prevalent in all Black families.
All black, white, green, purple, everybody.
Right. I think it's even easier when someone asks for forgiveness. You know, it's one thing we can forgive somebody just because we're Christian, we're supposed to. But I think the main thing is, sometimes we put in, well, is this person forgivable? Should we forgive them? Are they asking for forgiveness? And it's sometimes not on us. It's like, well, what does God say to do? You know, and sometimes, at least for us to forgive that person, in order for them to be like, you know what, I apologize, or I feel whatever that it is, and it makes sometimes not even about us. It's about how does it make the other person feel, and how does it make them learn?
Yeah. I can see that, but you know, I always have this little, because most people know that watch our show, we just kiki. You know, it's not a formal interview, and I do like getting a little messy. So it's a little bit messy here, and you did a show called The Single Life Dual Perspective on Modern Dating, and now you're married. And I wonder, because Claude and I go through this a lot, we work together, and you two are an extremely ego-driven business. How do you work that together? I mean, you know, it has not been easy for Claude and I, so I never say that this is easy and it's something you should try. How's it working for y'all? Both acting, producing, and all that.
Well, especially since you guys started working together on different projects.
Oh, did you start working together first?
No, I mean, they've been working independently.
Oh, yeah.
But now you're working together. So, especially with this new project.
Big Boom?
Yeah. So how's
that?
Yeah.
You know, I think for me, everything has to be filtered through the lens of Christ and what he's done for us. And my thing is, like, the marriage comes first, period. You know, so if we got into arguments, I was like, I don't care about no red carpet. We're not going. We're not doing no interview. We're not on good terms. So if this isn't right, it doesn't matter what's happening out in the world.
Gotta get that.
I think during the when we were both nominated for Emmys, which I thank God, like we kind of balanced each other. Melvin has never met a stranger a day in his life. When he was like, wait, I know the husband, Claude. I was like, of course you do. You know everyone. Like, but I'm more of like, yeah, I can stay in the house. I don't ever have to go anywhere. And the red carpet would like give me anxiety to walk, but to be able to walk the red carpet and look to my left or to my right and see my husband there was so, it was comforting. It was comforting. I mean, we did have a moment we had a moment. We'll give you the tea during the Emmys.
Okay.
What were you gonna talk about?
Okay, sure.
No, you go share. What were you about to say?
I was talking about Vicki.
Oh, well.
But men get amnesia when they get in public, so I'm just telling you about.
No, I had another story, but she can tell the Emmy story.
Right. He had he has another story. And I was like, oh, I wasn't even thinking about that story. So with the Emmys, I was nominated for The Handmaid's Tale. And, you know, back then it was huge. I mean, it's still huge now. And Melvin was nominated in the short form category, which wasn't necessarily a well-known category. I think it was 3 years. It had been 3 years.
2 years.
And he was nominated for a project that he wrote and produced. So when we, you know, go to these different news outlets or we're on the carpet, they're asking me about Handmaid's Tale. And there was one interview that we did, and they kind of they were focused more on the Handmaid's Tale, and then they kind of talked about him, and then that was it. And I could tell he was in his feelings, and he was like, you know, I'm not riding your coattails. And I was like, hold on, don't get mad at me. I was like, we're both trying to figure this out. No, I don't think you're riding my coattails, but you have to understand that it's The Handmaid's Tale. Like, it just is what it is. And when we get in that situation again, we'll know, because I don't even think they introduced the name of his piece. And so I was like, yeah, okay, now this is a lesson for us to know, like, okay, well, next time this happens, then you can say, yeah, I mean, it's amazing to be a part of this Eddie Murphy role is mine, not yours, that I wrote and produced, and, you know, like, work it in that way. So that was a little bump that we had to get over. And I was like, if we don't get over this, there will be no more interviews.
Yeah. I mean, and it's something like with Claude, because I was when we were on the record labels, they always said Vicki Mack, and they were calling him Mr. Mack, and I'm like, oh Jesus, you got. I said, this is my loving husband, Claude Lataillade. They say as long as a check, and that's true. But sometimes, y'all, it's difficult, especially for men. Because you guys are built to be the alpha male type
but
thing.
You know, this is the
Melvin, you too quiet, honey.
Yeah, good. But I was just going to share, because I think that the real struggle, the real thing for us was that during it, gospel centric, be right. This was Vicki was she was the crazy, because the A&R, the artist, the record, she's doing
Franklin,
all of that
Carr,
is her.
Ellie Price.
And so that's cool, and I can support that. That was me. I can support all that. The thing is, when we come home, then you're not CEO anymore. So it was that struggle, that tension, and then also the piece that there was a level of trust that had to be developed, and we all have to do. Her trust in me was that I wasn't going to try to take over gospel centric. You see what I'm saying? This is your thing. I'm going to support you. I'm not going to, because I'm a man, I'm going to take over. I got to run this thing. No, she had to learn. I had to give her that trust, and then at home, she had to give me the trust that hey, I'm here for you. This is it. We on this together. I understand what I need to do to be your wife. And so we getting to that point of trust in those roles was our challenge, getting there. And then we've gotten there. Didn't you think that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But Melvin, how about you? Because you awfully quiet, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's one of those things, like you said, the industry will put you against each other. And it was that moment where I felt like, I already knew what was going into it, as far as that they're going to, have their hands made tell. But I think for me, it was just like, well, I need you to have my back type of thing. And, like she was new to it. And I was like, I just want you to have my back. So if they don't say, you be like, hey, yeah, my husband, type of thing. So it's kind of like we have each other's back. So that was a lesson. And then, just understanding. I think the main thing is what is the purpose? Like, are we in this together? Are we looking for self-gratification? Like, I think it's moments, of course, we all have so much moments, the things that I may be looking for, because it was my first time, being nominated just like it's hers. But understanding that God had a bigger plan, and it wasn't just about us. It's about what we represented and representing Him. So I think that a lot of times it's that ego check. And it's like you said, we got to be right before we go out to the public. Me,
Right.
We get in an argument, I can act like nothing happened. That's not her. You know what I mean? So you got to know who you married with. And it was like, we need to get this right. We was in at an event. I'm like, let me go apologize because it's not going to be a good night. She's like, I'm going home. So it's just learning who you with and just growing and being understanding that there's times where you will lead. There's times where sometimes which her way may be a better way. And it's like, okay, let's do this together. And so I think she's a strong person. She's a strong-minded woman, and that's not easy for a man to come into because, she's like, I got this type of thing. And I was like, I got you. Let me lead. We both can't drive.
That whole industry, the cameras, the lights, the red carpet, the autograph, it is a beast, monster, demon. And it's really meant to destroy things because, as I tell people, it's because the spotlight is on you.
Yeah.
When it really was never meant for us, it's meant for Jesus. And so it's when you realize it's always going to be that struggle there and what that entity is, because I've been out there sometimes and I've just lost my mind. The lights are on, honey, and I am here. And you have to tone it down.
Right.
But
how long have you guys been married? How long have you been married?
Going on 6 years? No, this month. Oh, no, November.
Next month, yeah. 6 years.
Oh, in November? What date?
November 28th.
We're November 23rd.
Oh, okay, nice. How long?
Yeah. So you guys have been for a short time.
Yeah. So
how long you guys been married?
41.
It'll be 41 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
You ain't got to brag. You don't have to brag. Stick chest out,
We're testifying on our knees. Never would have made it.
We're coasting down.
Kind of, but we still have our moments. Where it's like, hold up.
Not as much as it used to be.
Yeah, it used to be bad. It used to be really bad and really rough, and we'd have to pray and get counseling.
Yeah.
You could
counseling is good. People scared of counseling. Gotta say your marriage right there, man. Say this is real out here.
Mm-hmm. We got a session after we hop off this call.
I'm gonna change the subject for 1 minute because I want to ask Kelly a personal question.
Okay.
Girl, this hair, this gorgeous natural hair, and this skin. How do you Black women do that? I was like, look at her hair.
Well, so my hair, I had a really bad incident on set back in 2018 where a salon really messed up my hair. And I had to cut it all off. And yeah, then I'm, in the process of growing it back. So I'm currently working on a show and they cornrow it down and I wear a wig because that's been my thing moving forward. Yeah. After that. So, I was, there it is. So, because I'm like, I got really aware that sometimes people don't understand that after I leave work, I still have a life to live and I need my hair as well and would like to have my hair. And so I just wanted to start wearing wigs. I don't have that issue on the current show that I'm on, but it's just easier for continuity purposes, because one day the natural is popping and the next it's like, I don't know what's going on, And so I got Felicia Leatherwood has been doing my hair for a long time and she really got me right. And now I'm also going to this young lady named Ronnie. Well, she was a young lady. This grown woman, Ronnie, who has introduced me to like water-based products, bringing out the natural texture of my hair. And I was like, oh, I didn't know I had curls like naturally in my hair. So that helped.
And it's cute. Oh, it's cute. It's cute and hot.
Because some men, especially in Hollywood, Melvin, and I want you to respond on this, they're not into the natural hair. There's a whole colorism. and hairism thing going on,
Yes.
and this woman is a gorgeous first lady.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what caught my eye. I was like, oh, girl,
yeah, pop,
curl, little
yeah.
puppy.
You know, this whole featureism in Hollywood, it's a whole thing, but it seems like you're getting the roles. You're working, Kelly. I mean,
Yeah, I think for me, because there is so much going on, but like seriously, my relationship with God informs everything. And I'm like, if God wants me to be on that set, no man can stop God's plans, period. And so that's just part of my thing always, like, what's the assignment? Where will you have me to go? And I have been very fortunate. I think for me, I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, because my heart is in a place of surrender where I'm like, I'm just like, use me for whatever it is that you want. If there's a purpose that you have for me on this set, that's where I want to be. And so it's never been well, I won't say never. I want to say 2014 was when I was like, oh, it's not about me. Okay, got it. What do you want? And so I feel like ever since then, it's just been uphill.
Oh,
well,
wow.
yeah, that's
That's
really cool to have that like that. Now that you guys are, I mean, it seems like you're able to kind of steering your own path too. Mel, tell us a little bit more about some of the projects you've written and produced and the things you've been doing together. It seems like you're not just depending on someone to give you a call.
Right. Yeah, one of the projects is Son of the South, which is a Spike Lee produced film, and that was, blessed to be a part of as a co-EP, and done some other projects like this Eddie Murphy Rollins Monarch Shores and Road.
Yeah.
I mean, it's for me, like I said, for me, it's just about creating opportunities for myself and others, not waiting, because just the waiting game, you know how it can be, and it's like keep yourself, busy as you can in the midst of waiting, because sometimes the phone call doesn't happen. And sometimes when people start seeing what you're doing, that seems to be when the phone calls even happen more, because they're like, oh, this person's being proactive. They're actually doing some things. They want to collaborate. And they see you now not just as a worker, but as a collaborator, as a person that they want to hire to produce something, or someone that wants to be a part of your project. So people reach out to me all the time to be a part of projects. And I'm like, I'm not casting anything right now, but it's one of those things where I may not see myself at a certain level, but they may see it, and like, I just want to work with you. So it's a blessing when you just do the work and constantly try to tell different stories and be a blessing while also being an artist and understanding, like, you can't sit and wait and expect things to happen. You got to go out there and work.
And I heard, this is the funniest thing I heard about you, Melvin, is you do not being a struggling actor. Honey, tell us about that. What does that mean?
Get a 9 to 5. Listen, had a 9 to 5. Like, I've been in my 9 to 5 15 years and still able to do my passion and able to do the things that I want to do. And there's no pressure. Like, if I want to roll or don't want to roll, I don't have the pressure of like, oh, I got to take this because I got to feed my family. It's like, no, I have a job that if I don't want to take the role, I don't want to do something, I don't have to do it because there's no pressure, but also because I have to trust God. And just, whatever it is in that moment, whether it's something that I'm supposed to do or not do, He'll make it clear. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, okay, God. And then sometimes He's like, let me test you. Let me see. And there's been moments where it's just like, I had to take a step away, take a step back and just like see what is my position. How do I come back into it differently? If I'm going to do it, how do I do it differently? How do I have fun while I'm doing it? And I have to give shout out to Sue Hamilton, because she has made auditioning fun for me, where before it was like, man, I got to audition again. Say it again.
That's your manager?
No, she's an acting coach.
Acting coach.
Acting coach.
And she has a philosophy of have fun or quit. And so with going to her, thank you, Kelly, going to her, my understanding of auditioning is different. Like, I have fun, I enjoy it, and I'm like, if I don't want to do this role, I'm gonna pass on it, because it's like, if you're not gonna commit to it, if you're not gonna want to do it because it's gonna do something for you, then why do it? I mean, for me, it can't be about the money. Like, I had to learn that a long time ago, because I was just taking roles. To get paid. Okay, how much you paying? Okay, great. But then I look at the product and I'm like, I probably shouldn't have done that, because you start doing bunch of bad projects. And I was like, no, it can't be about the money anymore. It got to be about the love of the craft, the love of the art. And why am I doing it because I want to do it, or am I doing it because I'm trying to fulfill whatever it is I'm trying to fulfill that has nothing to do with the purpose?
Right. So, I mean, you don't know how I admire that, because living in LA, I met so many wannabe actors and actresses who don't work. They laying on somebody's couch waiting for a call or something. And to me, I've never understood that. I mean, we've had to work 2-3 jobs just to make, different things happen. So I really super admire that. And I'm looking through some of this filmography, and I'm seeing here this Eddie Murphy role is mine, not yours.
Yes,
I am Puff. Yeah, you got nominated for an Emmy for that. I'm Puff Daddy, LA Temptation, The Price of Fame, Son of the South, I'm a Survivor, No Longer a Victim, and on and on and on. Brother, you're working. That's a blessing. And so you're working and doing your, I mean, look at y'all, you can't see this, but there are pages and pages of and stuff. So if you
let me just share something real quick. It's interesting. A lot of these projects, I did just put them out there. You do things, you're like, let me just build up my portfolio. And so now it's like stuff that you put out there, now I'm able to get distribution for these projects because people are taking shorts and web series, where before it was just like, I put it on YouTube, and it's like now you can actually get paid for it. So a lot of things that you were just thinking that was just, I'm gonna just put out for everybody to see, now people are like, let's give you a check for it. So that's what I'm talking about, is thinking ahead of and putting the work in so that you can get paid for your work, and it doesn't seem like you're just doing it for, like it's in vain.
Yeah.
Especially if the end product, good product that you're proud of, then there's longevity.
Mr. Richard just came on Sylvain. I guess it's his last name.
Bashir just came on just to make sure Claude and Melvin weren't giving any secrets and stuff. They not.
So because Bashir, I called him something else, is one of Claude's countrymen, so I see all these Haitian flags all over the place. But there was another question I wanted to ask. There are two that are kind of, what do you guys think about this situation with Alex Baldwin, and the whole prop department? I was a property manager. I worked on that when I was at UCLA, and it's given me a whole new concern, especially with guns. I don't understand how real bullets get in guns, number one. So tell me how you feel. You're not only on the acting side, but you're on the production side. How has this affected you guys, if at all? What do you think?
Well, especially Alec is liable not as an actor, but as a producer.
Yeah, I mean, you want to...
Yeah, what I learned is that they were using the gun for recreational outside of the set, so there were real bullets put in there. That's on the prop person. Whenever you get a gun, they should go through and look, and you have a rubber point on it to know that it's not a real bullet. And so that's on the prop person, but also, it's one of those things where they say that sometimes, especially if you're pointing it at the DP or director, like not to point it directly at them. And so it's one of those things where that's on the prop person, because every time you get the gun, it's supposed to be clear. And you can't take shortcuts. And that's the thing, those type of things, it could have been prevented. Now someone's lost their life, lost, loved one, and it all could be prevented, and we know been through these things before with Brandon Lee and Bruce Lee. Like,
that's right.
It's not uncommon, but it's just like, it should happen less.
It shouldn't happen at all. Like that's the thing. And I don't understand how this happened, why this happened. Well, I guess the how is somebody wasn't doing their job. The property manager wasn't doing their job. I've worked on sets with guns before. I recently shot a movie, and every single time the gun was used, we would have to stop what we were doing. They would open up the gun. They were like, if you want to hold it and see, it's a rubber gun. There cannot be bullets in it. And when the character had to load bullets into a chamber, and they were like, these are not real bullets. If you want to come and shake every single one of them, you'll hear that it has a little ball in there. Like when I worked on Manhunt and we were shooting guns, if something, like every single time they told us what was going on, there weren't real bullets. There, like, we live in 2021. There is never a need.
Yeah.
Well, they'll be popping back on. I think something's happened for a minute.
Yeah, we still good, yeah.
We are. Oh, there you go.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, so it should not have happened. And as far as like the producers, when we worked on You Just Big Bone as producers, it was still like, oh, even though I was an actor in it, there's still a level of accountability that we had because we were shooting during a pandemic. And it was like, we need to have COVID protocols in place, a COVID person there, people are getting tested. And we were shooting for 3 days, but it was still like, but yeah, this is still part of my responsibility as a producer on this show.
Exactly.
You know, and so trying to take shortcuts, it never pays off. Never.
And I've never heard of obviously it happens, but having a gun with real bullets on set, I'm like, I don't get that one too well. But girl, I have looked at your IMDb, and it's 100 pages long. Shows like Mix-ish and Fuller, it just goes on forever. All of the incredible projects that you have gotten to do. But there's two in particular that I'm really excited about. One is, I understand there's All American Homegrown, is that what it's called?
Homecoming.
Homecoming, that's right. And I did check it out. I'm definitely going to watch it. Tell us about this spinoff from All American. I'm like, okay, we going there for real.
Yeah. We're in the middle of shooting right now. It's such a blessing. I know I saw one of my castmates come on earlier. I don't know if he's still here, but we are like a family. And this spinoff, so All American, our flagship show, which is absolutely amazing and premiered this past Monday. What's today? My days. I don't know my days. On Monday it premiered. So one of the characters from All American, Simone, is now the lead on Homecoming, where we kind of follow her college journey. All American really focused on them in high school. And now Simone is going to this HBCU. I'm a professor at the HBCU and also Simone's aunt. And so we get to see the dynamics of like what HBCU life is all about, the struggles that they have. In the pilot that aired as part of All American's 3rd season, we got to see that my character broke the story about some cheating that was happening with the baseball team. And then, you know, as we kind of go forward, seeing what happens as a result of that. So, you know, I wish I could share all the things. It was episode 17 on All American, the 3rd season. It's on Netflix now, but there's some good stuff coming up.
But this
All American is on Netflix now. Their first 3 seasons. They're currently in their 4th season, but All American Homecoming won't come out until next year.
But will it be on Netflix, or do we know?
Eventually, I think it will be, but it's going to air on the CW. It'll come on immediately after All American when it starts airing.
Well, somebody said on our feed that you've got quite a voice too. You're quite a singer. Is that true?
You know, it's funny. I don't consider myself a singer. I consider myself an actor who sings. Like, I did a lot of musical theater, but like, am I gonna go in the studio for real? I play all the time, but you got a song. We're gonna go to the studio. But I'm not trying to get no album.
Speaking about other talents, Melvin, I just think you want some gold medals or something? Somebody
Oh
said.
yeah, Melvin, what's this about gold medals?
And I'm trying to figure it out. I said,
Yeah, I did track and field. Running was my thing. Cross country, track and field.
in Turkey?
Yeah, in Turkey, Uncle Turkey, when I was a kid.
Okay. Claude just flipped the script. I didn't know how he went from.
Other talents, you know?
Okay.
Other talents.
She's got music talents and he's got athletic. Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
But Shammy said, yes, I can sing. I can't sing. So it's a sing, not a sang.
Okay. So I know a few singers.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, some singing.
Yeah.
Some singing folks. But you got the singing and the track and field.
Mm-hmm.
So we've all gone. Damn, you mentioned some of the some projects during that time and the protocols you had to put. Are there some stuff you had to do? It seemed like you were still working, but were you going through some times where you weren't working at all during the pandemic? Things just got shut down, and how do you guys deal with all that? Process through all that.
For me, I like a lot of people. They through the pandemic, they felt like it hindered them, and for me, it elevated me. Like even on a lot of things, I was getting more meetings that I wasn't able to do, and then even with self taping, like you were able to do stuff at home like that. To be able to audition at home is pretty cool, and not have to always go into the office and certain things. So it was a lot of benefits. As far as on that side of, like I said, getting a lot of meetings, getting a lot of things done, and also us figuring out figure out like it was most time we ever spent together, and it was like we really like it. Okay, we like each other. We can spend this time together, and not go crazy. So it was just a beautiful thing all the way around of us creating. And then during the pandemic, we did the short film. So that was our first thing before the new year. In December, we shot the short film, went to Atlanta and did it, and came out with a beautiful project.
Yes, that's great.
I'm sorry I missed part of it, but my co-grandmother, which is my daughter's mother-in-law, just came in. We're going to let her sit in the back. See, Kelly, when I tell you she's a big fan of yours and a fan of all American, here she comes. She's probably a little shy. She might not want to say anything, but she can at least come back. There she is.
Join the party.
Hi.
Yeah, I said she's a big All-American fan, right?
Oh, yes. Awesome. I can't wait for it to come back on.
Yeah.
It's on. You missed the first episode. Came on Monday.
Yeah, I missed it. I was in travel.
She's
Well, go to the CW app. Check it out on the CW app. You probably can get it.
Yeah, I think you can watch it for free on the CW app.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Latoya.
She was just telling me all about. We found out that you could sing through. Miss Sheila back here telling us all about it. So
she told us all the details.
I wanted to know about your comedic side also.
The girl's funny.
Yes,
Yeah, I did. I took a stand-up class with Lisa Sunstead. She has a group called Pretty Funny Women, and it was an 8-week course. And every week we had to go to an open mic. And it's one thing to be conversationally funny, quick-witted, but to be on stage, I gained a whole new respect for comedic art, stand-up comics, because we at the end of the 8 weeks we had 5 minutes worth of material. Like 2 months it took us to get 5 minutes, a solid 5 minutes. So I understand now when people, you see them and they have the same material. Like, I get it. It takes a while. That's why people like Dave Chappelle are considered the GOAT. He's considered the GOAT. Other people, I know the early Bill Cosby, before all of this mess, but like to be able to be on stage for 2 hours and to have people engage. Sinbad, like I remember my family sitting around watching him perform. That's just another level of talent that I'm glad that I tapped into. I've not gone back. And I might, but yeah, it was fun and terrifying, and I'm glad I did it.
Well, think about this question is to both of you, Dave Chappelle and this cancel culture. I don't know if it looks like it's working really, but did you guys see the show?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what do you think about what people are saying?
You know, I find it very interesting. We are in a cancel culture. And I was actually having a conversation with someone, and they were like, yeah, whatever happened to the days of just like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch this. And I was like, you know, I feel like we canceled God. Like it was just like, you know what? We gonna cancel God. I'm gonna be my own God, and I'm gonna do what I want to do with my own life and say what I want to say. And if you don't agree with me, then something is wrong with you. And it's unfortunate that we're now in a society where people can't have differing opinions and still respect each other. I don't have to agree with what you say. That doesn't mean now that I gotta cancel you. It doesn't work that way. People can have differing opinions. You know, we want to have equality, but it's not, it's like, yes, we can have equality as long as you agree with me. And that's not equality. We can have different opinions and see things differently. I can still respect you. I can still love you and not agree with you. And that's just, you know, I think it's unfortunate. And I think like Dave Chappelle said in one of his most recent things, like, yeah, I will have a conversation, but you have to have watched it. A lot of people are just taking sound bites, you know, and then, yeah.
Go all the way through.
Melvin, what do you think?
I think it's interesting how certain people can say whatever they want and there to be no repercussions. But when it's us, sometimes it's a higher stake, and it's like we've come from cancel culture, being in slavery. You know what I mean? Like that for us is like we've been through so much, and it's like, don't you think we've been through enough? Can't we get some leeway? Can't we be able to, like I said, have the conversation? I think a lot of times the misunderstanding is we're not communicating. People are talking at each other and not listening. Like, why is it that you feel this way? Or why is it that I feel this way? And can we coexist without agreeing? Because there's a lot of people that are racist, you know, but we all, some kind of way, we survive in this world together. But I think it's the conversation that we need to have and understand, like, if a person's not trying to come out and be malicious with it, I think it's a conversation. As a comedian, you have a little bit more leeway as what we've been used to. And so now everyone is like tiptoeing around things. And it's just like, man, and I think the different thing for him in regards to counsel is he's not trying to be on TV or movies anymore. So he's going to make his money as a comedian. So if you want to come to a show, great. If you don't. And so I think it's one of those points where it's like, can you counsel someone that's not really trying to be watched on TV?
Yeah, I think maybe he's above being.
Well, you know, he did a movie.
Canceled.
He did this movie, and then it's going to be featured in a number of film festivals, and all of a sudden they canceled it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so
that's we're saying, hey, you know, they're trying to cancel.
Go to cities though.
Well, then he's going to kind of do his own film.
And he's selling out. He's selling out every stadium. So I mean, I think it's going to make more people want to watch. I think that the opposite is happening. So it's one of those things where, like I said, you can't please everybody, but everybody. I mean, it's so funny that I feel like that Trump could say whatever he wanted to say. Nobody talk about canceling. Nobody. They actually voted for him. They voted for him. They elected him. So go figure.
Right. To talk foolishness half the time.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm gonna go back a little bit. I want to talk about what we missed the premiere last week. We wanted to go and we couldn't go for Good Bone. But Big Bone.
You just Big Bone.
Just Big Bone.
Big Bone. I'm thinking Big Good Bone.
Used to say about Big Bone losing a little weight.
Brother is still Big Bone, but that's okay. What is the project about, and where can we see it since we missed the premiere?
It was at the Newport, right?
Yeah. So the Creative Coalition, which is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization, their motto is "You have the right to bear arts." They were given a grant And from that grant, they did a competition for people to do a short film around a very specific topic. And that topic was the untold story of obesity in America. And so there were 4 winners. I was one of the winners, and the film had to be about, thank you, had to be about the untold story of obesity in America. And so the story that I wrote, it is called You Just Big Boned, because being from the South, Atlanta, like we don't say that somebody is obese. We don't say that. We just say, oh, you just big bone. You just fit with it. You know, you got a little cushion for the pushing, that kind of thing. And so I wanted to create a film that would start conversation, because according to statistics, from when I did the film, like 2018, 4 out of 5 African American women had obesity. And then not understanding that obesity is a disease. So like, you wouldn't say someone that has cancer, you wouldn't be like, oh, you're cancerous. You would say they have cancer. So somebody who has obesity, you don't call them obese. You say they have obesity because it is a disease. And so this whole You Just Big Bone, the story follows a young girl from age 6 up to present day, and just the life and struggles that she had from being picked on. It was from like 6 to 10, it was loosely based on my life. Growing up, they used to call me heavy duty. They used to say, Kelly, shake that belly. But it never felt like I was being bullied, you know what I mean? And I do remember pretty distinctly when I went to visit my grandmother in the country, Adel, Georgia, and she had fixed me a plate. And I was like, I'm not eating bread, Grandma, I need to lose weight. And so I just wanted to kind of show this journey without judgment, putting any kind of judgment on it. And she goes to a comedy show and she hears a comedian say, like, I don't know why women say they're big bone. I've never seen a fat skeleton. Like, there is not, our bones aren't big. It's not a real thing. And so she then goes on this journey to try to, you know, understand this whole You Just Big Bone thing. And then realizing that obesity is a disease, and it's not as simple as like, just have some willpower, just go work out, just eat a salad. Like, the disease of obesity starts up here and not so much in the body, and then it's affected, the symptoms come out in the body, but it starts up here.
Right. Well, girl, Claude and I are intermittent fasting right now. So,
hang in there, it works.
It does work, but it's working. It's a tough road, because I know if I'm sad, unhappy, if I'm happy, I like to eat.
Yeah.
I like to eat sugar, and I love all kinds of food. I love soul food. I love Japanese. I love food.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. I think it's the way we've learned to comfort ourselves.
Right,
we can go out and eat as soon as this is over. And
in our schedule, you know, we try to eat within 6 hours and then fast 18 hours.
We can eat from 12 in the afternoon to 6.
Oh, yeah, y'all going real hard.
Yeah, we're going hard in the paint.
You know why?
Yeah.
Because I can't fit in my clothes, and I gotta wear different clothes for this alone. And
she's fashionista.
Well,
I can't wait.
But I can't be buying clothes every week and people aren't giving me clothes. By the way, what you wore for the Emmys, it was red, or was it burgundy?
It was like a wine color.
Oh, you guys got to look that up.
Thank you.
That up on Google it, but it was a beautiful dress.
Yeah.
You know, until I been talking to Tina Knowles, Beyonce's mom, where she was saying Beyonce would get clothes, but it would be hard to get clothes for some of the other girls. I mean, to really be able to get clothes, have clothes given to you to wear is tough. You got to be, you almost got to be in that A-list to get those clothes, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't think, I haven't gotten any clothes.
You will, though. I want you to tell me when you do. Oh, yeah, it's going to break for you. But it can be very, very tough
Wait a minute, somebody just put some clothes down. See, you spoke it up.
Listen. But also, you know, my thing is, and I saw somebody post it, it was like, we went through a whole pandemic where we were shut in the house. Like, just remember, we have to remember to be kind to our bodies. You know, it's like you've been through some things, you know,
Yeah.
and we slowly gonna get back on it. But yeah, I feel you.
20 pounds. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. I'm barely 5 feet. That's like 50 pounds else. So I don't know. But tell us what you've got going. We've gone over some of the things, but what are some of your passions and what are some of the things you've got for the future?
I love playing spades.
Oh my
Spades and karaoke. Those are my things. Right now, now to know right now, spades. We played last week and this week, and that's my joy. You know, my wife knows. She said she almost ruined us the other night because I'm like, look, we got marriage counseling, but I got my spades night on Wednesday, baby.
Right.
She's like, that's my comfort.
Spades. I like karaoke. I can play bid whist, but spades is kind of like.
We used to play bid whist. I mean, bid whist is.
Is that close to that? Whist is that close to
spades? Is like space. Even whist.
Kenny said brown sugar rehab. Yeah. So brown sugar, she's like, brown sugar rehab.
Yo, girl, that's
so Brown Sugar Rehab is a nonprofit organization that was started by my sister and best friend, Shannon Sylvain, who passed away from stage 4 colon cancer on October 12, 2018. And I don't know if Bashir is still on. Brown Sugar Rehab and the Colorectal Cancer Alliance are joining up to really kind of raise awareness, especially in the African American community, about this preventable disease, you know, and people hear colonoscopies and get weirded out and like, I don't want to have something going up my butt. And it's like, yeah, one, you're asleep. So, you know, it's fine. But also if it's going to save your life, do it, you know, get it checked out. And I don't know if Bashir is still in here. They're having an event on November. Gosh, I can't remember when it is. But you can go to Bashir's IG page to see when it is. The Colorectal Cancer Alliance is doing a benefit, and we really want to make sure that people get tested, because that's the thing. I remember Shannon would talk about, you know, her doctor was like, by the time many of her African-American patients would come to her, it would be too late. Because, you know, we're good for self-diagnosing ourselves. Like, you know, oh, I got a little bit of blood in my stool, it must be hemorrhoids, or my head hurts, you know, let me drink some ginger ale and go lay down. But we need to talk to our families to understand our family history, and talk to our doctors, and then follow up. You know, Shannon's doctor told her after she went and talked about the blood in her stool, come back in 10 days. And when Shannon came back in 10 days, she was like, a lot of my patients don't ever come back. And so I'm glad that you came back, because it was in her coming back that the diagnosis was revealed, you know. And so just really, and she started Brown Sugar Rehab as a way to raise awareness, help try to raise funds for people, because getting a colonoscopy, if you're not insured, is expensive. Yes. And that keeps a lot of people from wanting to get it done. But, you know, it was her way of giving back and still being able to give back, even though she's not physically here with us. And you can follow at Brown Sugar Rehab on IG as well.
Well, I have to say that I got my colonoscopy. So I'm good.
And they lowered the age from 50 to 45. So, you know, because a lot more young people are getting diagnosed.
Yes.
Yeah, it's I remember the first time around though, my father had to come to help my husband go get this colonoscopy.
Because you can't go, you have somebody drive you back. So the last time we had, you know, a partner's colonoscopy. You know, we waited.
Yeah.
To it. Oh, yeah, that's right. The last time around, he said it was laying in one room, and I was laying in the other room. Like a couple spot. We had our colonoscopy.
Couples colonoscopy.
Love it.
Do that this last year. Well, praise God. I mean, you know.
Yep.
We got to take care of it, you know. So encouraging each other. But no, those are good words, and that's really, we need to do that. And I've known a couple of brothers that have passed from colon cancer, and
Yeah.
it's preventable. You want to try to do.
Well, I know you guys have. Are you guys going into counseling? You said in a few minutes.
Well, at 5:30, I have a 5 p.m. appointment, and then our counseling session is at 5:30.
We gotta be off in 1
Okay, so
minute.
I just want to make sure we've gone over everything. I think the big things are we've got to look forward to what from you
All
guys?
American Homecoming
Okay.
will come out next year. I believe February, but don't
Okay.
quote me.
But okay, but
Yeah. I initially heard January too, but then I think things changed. So it's coming out at the top of next year.
okay.
Yeah.
And Melvin,
And also just make sure we have a children's book on The Adventures of Jimmy the Fly on Amazon. So go, if you have kids, go check that out.
And you can watch his documentary on
Tubi.
Tubi.
I'm a survivor, no longer a victim.
okay. And how do we reach you guys? How do we get?
At Kelly M.Jenrette on IG and Twitter, and Kelly Jenrette on Facebook.
And Melvin Jackson Jr., Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and melvinjacksonjr.com.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We really enjoyed this.
Enjoyed this, man.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, thank you for coming. I mean, and thank you to Shamael Lataillade.
Yes, thank you, Shamael. Thank you, what do you call her? Co-grandmother?
Yes, my co-grandmother. And we'll be seeing you soon, and I hope to talk to you guys again right before the show comes on. That would be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you
All right.
so much. God
Thank you. Be blessed.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello, what's
Thank
up?
you so much for watching Carfitable
Yes,
Talks.
thank you.
Please remember to press that like button, and we need you to subscribe. And also,
Leave some comments. Really need to hear from you.
thank you.